The Bema. Are we on? Can you hear me all right? We're excited once again to be back here in Shul in person. And we'll begin in just a few moments with the Shalom Aleichem. But prior to that, we will light candles. And perhaps those of you at home are also going to be lighting candles, joining in with us. And we're excited because long-time friends and members, and now endowed members of the Shul, Sharon and Bobby Livitz, are here for Shabbos, and Sharon is going to step forward and light the candles, so we ask that you all rise as the candles are kindled in just a moment. Sharon? We rise.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher kitshanu b'mitzvotav v'tzivanu lahadlik ner shel Shabbat.
Amen. Shkoyach, thank you. Shabbat Shalom. We are seated. We turn now in the Siddur to page number 5. Shalom Aleichem, page number 5. Page 5, Shalom Aleichem, a song, a poem. We are symbolically welcoming angels of peace. Angels are joining us at this moment. Ask yourself, what would an angel be receiving by sitting here with us? A gesture of love, of hope, of support. Shalom Aleichem, Malachei Ashoret, Malachei Elyon, Mi Melech, Malachei Amlochim HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Bo'achem l'shalom, malachei ha-shalom, malachei elyon. Mi melech, malachei amlochim ha-kadosh baruch hu. Baruch hu ni l'shalom, malachei ha-shalom, malachei elyon. Mi melech, malachei amlochim ha-kadosh baruch hu. Tzedchem l'shalom, malachei ha-shalom, malachei elyon. Mi melech, malachei amlochim ha-kadosh baruch hu. And now we turn in the Siddur to page number 11. A reminder that in a moment we will have some songs that are more contemporary. We have song sheets on that back blue table. And as you walked in, hopefully you picked up those song sheets on that back blue table in the center of the aisle. For now, we begin with the L'chuna Ranana on page number 11. L'chuna ranena, l'chuna ranena, l'chuna ranena, l'Adonai. L'chuna ranena, l'chuna ranena, l'chuna ranena, l'Adonai. Naria, naria, letzur yishenu, nekadma fana b'toda. Naria, naria, letzur yishenu, bizmira naria lo. L'chuna ranena, ranena, lechona ranena, lechona ranena, ladonai, lechona ranena, lechona ranena, lechona ranena, ladonai. Naria, naria, litzur yishenu, nekadma fana betoda. Naria, naria, litzur yishenu, bizmira naria lo. Lechona ranena, lechona ranena, lechona ranena, ladonai. Lechona ranena, lechona ranena, lechona ranena, ladonai. On the English side. Let us go and sing to Adonai. Let us trumpet praise to our protector. Filled with thanks, let us greet God, raising our voice in song. Great is Adonai, a greater sovereign than all other deities. God's hands form the earth's deep. Mountain crests too are God's work. The sea is God's, for God made it. Dry land was fashioned by God's hands. Come then, let us bow and kneel. Let us bend our knees in the presence of Adonai, who formed us. Arba'im shana kut v'dor v'omar m'tolev avhem v'hem lo yidu rachai asher nishbati v'apim yivon el menuchati. And now the first song sheet, Love Multiplies, by Beth Schaefer.
Two were born and one was scorned, to the desert he would run. Two fathers of two nations from one family. You're okay in your father's eyes. Love doesn't divide, love multiplies. You're okay in your mother's eyes. Love doesn't divide, love multiplies. Families fall and families rise. Love doesn't divide, love multiplies. Love your God and you'll be wise. Love doesn't divide, love multiplies. Little town is bound to grow, destined to be more. Every year another church will claim its place on the road. And each Sabbath day the folks would pray behind their bolted doors. And the air would fill with notes of hope, only who would know? You're okay in your neighbor's eyes. Love doesn't divide, love multiplies. And you're okay in the stranger's eyes. Love doesn't divide, love multiplies. Cities fall and cities rise. Love doesn't divide, love multiplies. Love your God and you'll be wise. Love doesn't divide, love multiplies. Mother holds her little girl, who is the world to her. But she knows another baby will be coming soon. This one-on-one little love affair will have to end for sure. How could her full heart come up with any more room? You're okay in your daughter's eyes. Love doesn't divide, love multiplies. You're okay in that baby's eyes. love multiplies.
Love doesn't divide. Love multiplies. On page 14, it's the second stanza, Yismechu Hashemayim. The heavens and the earth are singing along with us. We don't sing by ourselves. We sing in tandem with nature itself. Yismechu Hashamayim, Yismechu Hashamayim, Yismechu Hashamayim, V'tagel haaretz. Yismechu Hashamayim, Yismechu Hashamayim, Yismechu Hashamayim, V'tagel haaretz. Yeramayim, Yeramayam, Yeramayam, Umalo, Yeramayam, 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 Umalo, Yeramayam, 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 Umalo, Yeramayam, 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 Umalo, Yismechu Hashamayim, Yismechu Hashamayim, Yismechu Hashamayim, V'tagel haaretz. Yeramayam, 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 Umalo, Yeramayam, 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 Umalo. And on page 20 on the English side, on page 20, Moses and Aaron among God's priests, and Samuel among those who called upon the divine name, called to you, and you answered them. You spoke to them from amidst the cloud. They kept your covenant and the law you gave them. You answered them, Adonai, our God. You were a forgiving God to them, even as you punished them for their transgressions. Exalt Adonai, our God, and bow down at God's holy mountain, for Adonai, our God, is holy. And you might wonder, what is going on, especially in that last phrase of this psalm, which introduces us to Shabbat itself. You are a forgiving God, even as you punish them. And that's highlighting the debacle of the golden calf at the base of Mount Sinai. But over the span of those many years, God is described as being forgiving. I'm taking that into my mind this night because of a thought that I wish to share later on. We're 2 months away from Yom Kippur. For me, it's hard to believe that we've already been 2 months out from the high holiday season, and we're walking into a road. And I think too often I fall prey to considering the themes of Rosh Hashanah Yom Kippur only at that season, the theme of forgiveness, of granting and receiving forgiveness. But throughout our Jewish mind, forgiveness is part of our every single day experience. Forgiveness and love are two sides of the same coin. And Moses and Aaron failed before God, and yet God is described as forgiving them on this psalm, not part of Yom Kippur, on what we might call an ordinary Shabbat. On page number 21. Havu l'Adonai b'nei elim, havu l'Adonai kavod v'oz, havu l'Adonai kavod shemo, hishtachavu l'Adonai b'hadrat kodesh, kol Adonai al hamayim el hakavod, hirim Adonai al mayim rabim, kol Adonai ba'koach, Kol Adonai behadar, Kol Adonai shover arazim, Vaishaber Adonai et arzei halvanon, Vayarkidem kemo egel, Levanon v'Sirion kemo ven reimim. Kol Adonai chotzev lavotesh, Kol Adonai yachil midbar, yachil Adonai midbar kadesh, Kol Adonai yachol el ayalot, vayechesov ye'arot, uvhechalo kulo omer kavod. Adonai lamabul yashav, vayeshev Adonai melech leolam, Adonai oz li'amo yitein, Adonai yevarech et amo v'shalom. And now L'Charodi on page. She is a queen in our midst. And we're delighted and honored that the Queen Shabbat is joining us. On page 23, the first two stanzas, page 25, the last two stanzas. L'chadodi lekrat kala, p'nei Shabbat nikabela. L'chadodi lekrat kala, p'nei Shabbat nikabela. Shamor v'zachor b'dibur echad, Hishmiyanu el hamyuchad, Adonai echad, U'shemo echad, L'shem ol tiferet v'litila. L'chadodi lekrat kala, p'nei Shabbat nikabela. L'chadodi lekrat kala. Likrat Shabbat l'chuven elcha, Ki makor habaracha, merosh mikedem nesucha, sov maaseh b'machshavot chila. L'chadodi lekrat kala, p'nei Shabbat nekabela. L'chadodi lekrat kala, p'nei Shabbat nekabela. Yamin Usmol tiferotzi, v'et Adonai ta'aritzi, al yadish ben partzi, v'nesmecha v'nagila. L'chadodi lekrat kala, p'nei Shabbat nekabela. L'chadodi lekrat kala, p'nei Shabbat nekabela. Boli v'shalom ateret bala, gam b'simcha u'v'tzala, toch emunei am sgula, boli chala. L'chadodi lekrat kala, p'nei Shabbat nekabela. L'chadodi lekrat kala, p'nei Shabbat nekabela. And as we're seated, we turn to page 27, the Psalm for Shabbat itself. And you may remember a number of years ago, we had this group, Nativ, which is a high school seniors group here with us, and they've recorded this, and we've shared it a number of times. This is a reminder that it never gets old to say thank you. Say thank you every day. Mizmor Shir on page 27.
Mizmor Shir le'yom HaShabbat.
Shimcha
last two stanzas on page 28. The righteous flourish like the date palm, thrive like a cedar in Lebanon, planted in the house of Adonai. They flourish in our God's courtyards. In old age they remain fruitful, still fresh and bountiful, proclaiming, Adonai is upright, my rock in whom there is no flaw. How do we get to be righteous? Perhaps it's that opening stanza in the psalm by this group Nativ, sung with care and heartfelt emotion, reminding us to be thankful. Sing forth gratitude. That may be the opening into becoming a righteous person. Singing with gratitude in our daily lives. We rise, Borchum, page 39a. Baruch hu et Adonai Amavorach. Baruch Amavorach Leolam Vaed. And we were seated, the English on page 39a. Baruch Adonai, our God, sovereign of time and space, whose word brings the evening dusk, whose wisdom opens the gates of dawn, whose understanding changes the day's division, whose will sets the succession of seasons and arranges the stars in their places in the sky, who creates day and night, who rolls light before darkness and darkness from light, who makes day pass into night, who distinguishes day from night. Adonai Tzvaot is your name, living and ever-present God. May your rule be with us forever and ever. El Chai V'Kayam Ta'amidim Lo Chalen Olam Boed Baruch Atah Adonai Ha'ma'ariv Aravim. And on page 40, we have the Ahavat Olam, the second main prayer of this part of the service. The first prayer speaks of the transition between day and night. And this is the second prayer on page 40, speaks of love. These prayers are positioned here very specifically for its Jewish tradition that love is as much a part of day and night, of light and of dark. And now Kiyem Chayenu, Craig Talman is joining us this evening.
Day and night, show us the way, teaching us to number our days. When we rise, when we lie down, Ahavat Olam, Ki Hem Chayenu, Ve'orech Yameinu, Uvahem Negeh, Yomam Valayla.
Kihem Chayenu. Words of love are with us every single day and every single night. V'avatacha tasir mimenu l'olamim, Baruch atah Adonai, Ohev amo Yisrael. Shema is on page 41. Shema Yisrael, Adonai Eloheinu, Adonai Echad. Me'avta et Adonai Elohecha, b'chol levavcha, u'b'chol nafshecha, u'b'chol me'odecha, v'hayu hadvarim ha'ele, asher anochi mitzavecha yom al levavecha. Vishinantam levanecha, v'dibarta bam, b'shivtecha b'veitecha, u'v'lechtecha v'aderech, u'v'shachbecha v'kumecha, u'kishartam liot al yadecha, v'hayu letotafot b'neinecha, u'ktavtam al mezuzot beitecha, u'visharecha. And on the song sheet, the song Love Your God.
Love your God with all your heart, with all your strength, with all your soul. Love your God with all your heart, with all your mind, with all your soul. Where you live, where you lie, where you stumble, where you thrive, with all you speak, with all you know, with all your soul. Be like God, one like God, in love and life. Be like God, love like God, with all your heart, with all your might, with all your soul. When you seek, when you soar, when you breathe and breathe no more, love your God, be with God, go with God.
Adonai Elohechem emet. On page 44. chamocha poelim Adonai mi kamocha nedar b'kodesh naratilot ol sefele malchutecha ra'uvanecha bokeh yam lifnei Moshe zeli anu v'yamro Adonai yimloch le'olam v'ed v'ne'emar ki fadarno et Yaakov u'galo miyad chazak mimenu baruch atah Adonai Gal Yisrael. Page 45, the Hashkivenu on the English side. Hashkivenu, Adonai our God, to sleep peacefully. Awaken us to life, O Sovereign. Spread over us your canopy of peace. Restore us with your good counsel, and save us for the sake of your name. Shield us. Remove from us enemies, pestilence, sword, starvation, and sorrow. Remove the evil forces that surround us. Shelter us in the shadow of your wings. For you, God, watch over and deliver us. And you, God, are sovereign, merciful, and compassionate. Ensure our going and coming for life and peace, now and forever. May you spread over us your canopy of peace. Baruch atah Adonai, who spreads the canopy of peace over us. Ufro solenu sukat shlomecha, Baruch atah Adonai, haporei sukat shalom aleinu, v'al kol amo Yisrael, v'al Yerushalayim. The top of 46. V'shamro b'nei Yisrael et ha-Shabbat la'asot et ha-Shabbat ledorotam barit olam. V'shamro b'nei Yisrael et ha-Shabbat la'asot et ha-Shabbat ledorotam barit olam. B'nei u'ben b'nei Yisrael oti le'olam, oti le'olam, oti le'olam. V'shamro b'nei Yisrael et ha-Shabbat la'asot et ha-Shabbat ledorotam barit olam. Ki sheshet yamim asa Adonai et hashamayim v'et haaretz v'shamro b'nei Yisrael et ha-Shabbat la'asot et ha-Shabbat ledorotam barit olam. V'bayom hashvi Shabbat vayinafash, Shabbat vayinafash, Shabbat vayinafash. V'shamro b'nei Yisrael et ha-Shabbat la'asot et ha-Shabbat ledorotam barit olam. Yitgadal v'yitkadash shemei Rabbo v'b'chayechan v'yamechan uv'chayedecha beit Yisrael ba'agala ba'agala uv'ezman kariv v'imera amen. Yehi shemei Rabbo mevarach L'olam li'olmei olmaya, Yitbarach. Yitbarach v'yishtabach v'yitparv v'yinaseh v'yithadar v'yitale v'yithalal shemei d'kedusha brechu le'lam kol brachata v'shirata tush v'chata v'nechemata da'amiran v'yolma v'meru amen. We rise now the silent Amida, traditionally found on pages 47 through 52. Amida is the Hebrew word. It means to stand up. And you might ask, why must I stand up for this prayer? Can't I just say a prayer while I'm seated? And the answer is, of course you could. But when you and I change our posture, we change our perspective. So this indicates that this is an opportunity for silent, private meditation within the support of the company. Each one of us is supporting the other as he or she says a private, silent prayer. Yitkaral bikarash merabo amen shmeru amen yeheshme rabo mevorach olam liol me'ol maya yitbarach Yitbarach v'yishtabach v'znevadah v'shmei kudusha b'rechu l'shmei mero. Amen. Tika b'shmei mero. Amen. Yesh l'shmei mero. Amen. V'aseh shabbat v'yaseh shalom l'shmei mero. Amen. Yesterday, I was invited into a local school. It's always an honor to be invited into a school. School's a very special place. It's a place of learning. It's a place where children and adults come together. There has to be a great deal of trust for an outsider to come into the school. And it's been on many occasions that I'm very grateful for the opportunity to come into the school. UMS Wright has been, over the past perhaps 8 years, offering on varying levels a class touching in one way or another on Holocaust. And it's been an incredible experience for me to be welcomed into this community, a community that's seeking to learn and to expand. And I've shared with you on a number of occasions, especially last year and the year before, when daffodil gardens were planted on the campus, along with a number of other activities and projects. So yesterday I was offered an opportunity to address high school juniors and seniors in this class. And I asked myself, what am I supposed to say to a group of students that has already been studying for a number of weeks, will be studying for another month and a half or so? And I decided to share with them some stories of members of our shul. And so I spoke of Mr. and Mrs. Zarimba. And many of us, of course, over the years, had opportunities to learn with, to live with Mr. and Mrs. Zarimba. And when they died, Aleichem Shalom, years ago, we lost yet one more link to our point of origin, we, the Ashkenazim of Mobile. So I shared with them some memories of Mr. and Mrs. Zarimba, and I explained how we have within our synagogue a Holocaust memorial that came into being as a function of their energies at the previous location years ago, and how we have a Holocaust Torah as well. And after I'd finished my thoughts, there were some questions, a number of questions. What does it mean to be Jewish? How do you live your life as Jews in Mobile? Those types of questions. And one young woman asked me a question which has been swirling around inside my head since yesterday. She asked me, do you speak of forgiveness in your tradition? Do you speak of forgiveness in your tradition? And it kicked me in the gut. Because yes, we always speak of forgiveness in our tradition. And I think many Jews remember forgiveness at Rosh Hashanah and Yom Kippur. And the rabbi puts on a white robe, and we have beautiful white flowers on the bima, and the shofar is blown, and we tap our chest, and we sing Al Chet and Ashamnu, and we speak of forgiveness. And then most of the time, we walk out the door, and days, weeks, months pass by, and we forget to talk about forgiveness. And yet forgiveness is a critical part of Jewish tradition. If you look at the daily prayer service, forgiveness is called upon 3 times. 3 times a day we're supposed to talk about forgiveness. One line, "Oh God, forgive us, and we shall forgive." One sentence. 3 times a day. Every single day. "Oh God, forgive us, and we shall forgive." So when this young woman asked me yesterday, do you speak of forgiveness in the context of studying about Holocaust, it struck me deeply. And we had a little bit of a conversation back and forth, just she and I, in the midst of a room of 19 students and 2 teachers. And I asked her, what do you mean by that? She said, well, all the loss, all the attack, all the killing, all the suffering, do you forgive? And I mentioned I wasn't there. And then I teased her a little bit, and I said, let's say I were to accidentally insult you or to hurt your feelings, or in some way cause some hurt, some offense. And then I came over here and I spoke to your classmate at this desk. And I asked the classmate, please talk to her and ask her to forgive me. Would that work? And she said, no. Why not? Forgiveness is forgiveness. And she said, because he's not the one. You're the one. So I said, forgiveness has to be addressed and received by those involved in the experience. I wasn't personally attacked by the Nazis during World War II, during the Holocaust. Who am I to grant forgiveness? And now, of course, all the survivors that are on the planet are decreasing rapidly in number. So in a while, all those who were attacked, all those who were lost, and all those who had until now lived and survived, but now will no longer be, will be gone. Who is authorized to grant forgiveness? And we had a little bit of a discussion in this classroom, and then the bell had to ring, and it was time to move on, because we always have to move on in a high school and in our lives. But it's been swirling around in my head over and over again since, how this young woman asked a very important question. How often do we Jews speak of forgiveness in general, stepping back from the experience of talking of the Holocaust in general? We're supposed to speak of it every single day, multiple times per day, and too often we lose sight of what it means to be involved in relationships enough to take stock of what it says about us, that forgiveness is a priority. Forgiveness is a priority from a Jewish point of view. Every time you and I interact, we have a capacity and opportunity to respect one another, to care. And when I mess up in that regard, I'm given an opportunity every single moment of my life to seek forgiveness and to try to make my life better, so that the next time that I interact with you, I don't make the mistake that I did last time. That's what Yom Kippur is all about. Yom Kippur is a reminder once a year that we're not supposed to seek forgiveness once a year. Yom Kippur is a reminder that we're not supposed to seek forgiveness only from people in our immediate orbit, but we're supposed to think globally, as this young woman prompted me to think yesterday and still in my mind today. Tomorrow we read about Abraham and Sarah and Hagar and Isaac and Ishmael. We read the exact same Torah reading which we read on Rosh Hashanah. We just read it 2 months ago. And you know the story about a family that's embroiled in conflict, hurt feelings, and what's missing in the text of Abraham with 2 wives and 2 sons, each of which is the firstborn? There's no mention of forgiveness. There's mention of sorrow, of loss, of running away, of being chased. But there's no mention of forgiveness in the entire experience. I hadn't really noticed it with this kind of clarity until, as a result of yesterday, I've been thinking about my conversation with this young woman. For a tradition that speaks so devotedly about forgiveness, about coming close, about reconciling, our first family missed the mark entirely. Maybe that's why we read about them every single Rosh Hashanah, to start the year off, so that we can learn what happens to a family when it does incorporate forgiveness in its own daily lives. May we learn and may we grow. And we all say, Amen. In a moment, we'll have the Aleinu. We're going to rearrange a little bit. We're going to have Kiddush and the Motzi near the end of the service. And so now turn to the Aleinu on page number 56. We rise for the Aleinu on page number 56. Aleinu leshabeach laton hakol latet gedula leotzer breshit shelo asana kugoye haratzot velo samanu kemishpachot adama shelo sam chelkenu kahem vegor aleinu kechol hamonam Vanachnu korim Amishtachavim Umodim Lifnei Melech Malchei Amlachim HaKadosh Baruch Hu Shehu Notei Shamayim V'Yosei Haaretz U'Moshav Yekaro B'Shamayim Mimal U'Shchinatu Zo Begavei Meromim Hu Eloheinu Einod Emet Malkeinu Efes Zulato Kakatu B'Torato V'Yadata Yom V'Shevota El Levavecha Ki Adonai Hu Elohim B'Shamayim Mimal V'Al Haaretz Mitachat Enod Kakatu b'Toratecha Adonai yimloch le'olam va'ed v'nemar v'haya Adonai le'melech al kol haaretz bayom hahu yiyeh Adonai echad Shema Echad. In the moment, the mourner's Kaddish, found here on page number 58. We remember with great love Yetta Lee, Gerald Berger, Max Rossner, Milton Eishold, Annie Janowitz Mazel, Bernice Gerwich, Helen Marie Marshall McCall, Gertrude Colette, Samuel Camille, Charles Mitchell, Rose Stein Malkov, Samuel Lappin, Abraham Goldstein, Harry Briskman, Nancy Howell, Walter Sherman, Ruth Cohen, Jacob Gutlow, Joyce Grodnick, Sharon Milak, Teresa Gutel, Alice Dahl, Abraham Harry Berger, Harry Rubin. Are there any other names to mention this evening? Paul Bugstein, perhaps a name mentioned at home. Yitkadal v'yitkadash shemei rabba. Amen. Be'olma divra chirute v'yamlich malchute. B'chayechon u'v'yomechon u'v'chaye dechol ve'yisrael ba'agala u'v'zman kariv v'imiru. Amen. Yehei shmei rabba mivarach la'olam ololmei olmaya. Yitbarach v'yishtabach v'yitpa'ar v'yitromam v'yitnaseh v'yithadar v'yitale v'yitalal shmei dekudisha brichu La'ela min kol birchata v'shirata tushbechata v'nechamata da'ami ran ba'olma v'imru. Amen. Yehi shlama rabba min shamaya v'chayim olenu v'al kol Yisrael v'imru. Amen. Oseh shalom bimromav hu ya'aseh shalom aleinu v'al kol Yisrael v'imru. Amen. This mourner's prayer is not exclusively for those who mourn. This mourner's prayer, which we've been reciting for perhaps 1,800 years, is a shared prayer. Those who speak it are being heard by members of the community. And now that we've been online for the past year and a half, our community has become broader and deeper. And in a way, we're also hearing the words of people who are not in our building, who are also saying Kaddish. It's an opportunity for us to listen to each other, to attend to each other, as people call out, saying, I'm remembering a loved one. And we all say Amen, which means we're paying attention to each other. That's the power of the mourner's Kaddish. A few quick reminders, and we'll conclude tonight. Reminders, of course, tomorrow morning, davening, 10 to 11:15, 11:30. Tomorrow night, Zoom Havdalah. Monday's Tanakh study. Tuesday's Adult Hebrew on Zoom. Tuesday Spirit discussion is what are your favorite Jewish memories and why? That's Tuesday. Thursday is story time for kids on Zoom. And I think we'll stop with that. And we'll turn to Yigdal in a moment. Then we'll have Kiddush and Amotzi at the table in the rear of the sanctuary. We're on page number 62. Yigdal Elohim Chai v'yishtabach nimsa v'yenait el metziuto echad v'yen yachid keyichudo ne'lam v'gam ein sof la'achduto ein lo demutaguf v'yen aguf lo na'aroch elav kedushato kadmon l'chol davar Asher Nivra Rishon V'Ein Reshit L'Reshito Hino Adon Olam V'Chol Notzar Yoreg Gdulato Malchuto Shefa Nevuato Nitano El Anshe Segulato V'Tif Arto Lokam B'Yisrael Kimoshe Od Navi Umabi et munato Torat metnatan liyamoel al yad neveo neman beito lo yachlifael velo yamir dato leolamim lazulato sofev yodea sitarenu mabit lasof davar bekad mato gomel ish chesed kemifa noten l'rasha ra karishato yishlach leketz yamin meshichenu liftot machakeket yeshuato meitim yechayel berov chasto baruch adeyad shem dilato meitim yechayel berov chasto baruch adeyad shem dilato. And now we invite you to step forward and find a glass of wine or grape juice or a piece of bread at the rear table. And Bobby's going to join us on the beamer to make Kiddush and Motzi. We're excited. Bobby and Sharon are here. This is Bobby's bar mitzvah anniversary. Well, Bobby, what, about 3 or 4 years ago? What do you think, Bobby? Yeah, he looks like a fountain pen. So Bobby and Sharon came in from Houston. Bobby joined me on the Bima. And they came here. They schlepped from Houston because he wanted to have a bar mitzvah Shabbos on the bima, well, not the exact bima, but on the bima of Ahavas Chesed where he had his bar mitzvah some years ago. It was some years ago, wasn't it, Mr. Libetz? 2, 3, 4 years ago. And so has Kiddush changed in the past few years since your bar mitzvah, Bobby, or it's the same? It's the same Kiddush. So the Kiddush, it's on the Siddur, and it's on page number 55. Page 55, here it is, Bobby.
Okay.
You want to take off your mask? I'll put mine on.
Whatever.
Let's do this. See if we can get recorded. Hold on a second, Bobby. Welcome to the 21st century. Hold on a second. Here you go. Ready? Just like that. And just
Okay, let me just. Right. Okay.
take it.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech olam borei peri hagafen.
Amen.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech olam asher kitchanu b'mitzosav v'ratzavanu v'shabbos kadsho b'ahavav ratzon inkilanu zikaron lema'aseh v'reishis Ki hu yom techila lemikroe kodesh zecher l'siyas mitzrayim ki vanu v'chata v'osanu kidashta mikol ha'amim v'shabbat kadshecha be'ahava Hin kaltanu Baruch atah Adonai mekadesh hashabbos.
Amen.
Okay.
You want to do hamotzi? And now a piece of bread, the hamotzi. Oops, no bread.
That's good. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech olam hamotzi lechem min haaretz. Amen. Oh, it's official now. Thank you for that. Oh. Bon appetit.
Good Shabbos. Thanks for joining us. Until we see each other again. Lidro. Shabbat Shalom.